Well, good afternoon. It's a Saturday afternoon. The weather is absolutely beautiful. I think we were in the high 40s last night, and it's going to be in the 70s today, mid 70s. Absolutely beautiful outside. So, in the last video, I think I'd showed that most everything is done. A couple things I'm waiting on still is contractor just haven't showed up yet. But myself and a friend are working on putting the trim on the kitchen cabinets, kitchen and pantry, and that includes the molding above the cabinets and then the molding that goes below the cabinets, so you can put in and hide any under counter lights. So we put the trim on for the under counter lights, and we'll show that next. And we also built and hid the vent that goes from the microwave and the oven to outside that goes up. So we had four extra doors that was suggested by the company that I buy to make that cover, which we did. So we took three of the doors and cut them and put them together, and they come out really nice. So you'll see that. And the last thing is getting ready for the upper molding, which is going to take a while because it's, above the cabinets. I just made 4 patterns or templates, if you will, so I don't get confused when cutting, because you got a bevel angle, you have a miter angle, you have left, right, and up, down. But basically, a lot of people, because I'm using a 38-degree spring off the miter off of the wall, it sits out 38 degrees. I think a lot of people use 45 degrees, or I think most common is 38 degrees. So there's a specific bevel and miter to cut it flat, so you don't have to worry about holding it up and getting that angle perfect when you put it on your miter saw. I have those guides somewhere, but since we're moving, I can't find those. So I went to the flat method, which is as good or maybe even better and maybe simpler, but you just have to remember left, right, up and down. So, okay, so we've finished putting in the cabinets in the house, but this week we built the piece that goes up around the vent from the microwave and oven, and we've built that and got that in place. So the next thing I've got to build is the trim. The molding actually goes around the top of the cabinets. But before I do that, I've got to make some templates so I can cut all of these pieces a lot easier. Because I've got an outside corner here, and I've got inside corner here, and I've actually got a return here, and over there. So we'll talk about those next. So this is the molding that I'm putting on the cabinets, and actually this is the bottom. It has the decorative cut, and this is the top. And so when you mount it against So as you mount it against the wall, it comes out at an angle, and a lot of people think that angle is like 45 degrees, and you can buy molding that way, but most molding has what they call 38-degree spring on it, so it actually sticks out 38 degrees. And so this is the part that actually nails to the cabinet right here, this little flat. So when you cut this trim, you can either hold it against the saw at the right angle, or you can flat cut it. Flat cutting is much easier because you don't have to hold it at the right angle and try and do all of that. They make pieces that go on your saw to hold it for you, or you can make them, or you can change the bevel and angle on your saw to cut it flat, and that's what we're going to do today here. But to make it easier for me, because I don't do enough of this, is I'm going to make some templates. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so on your miter saw, you got to have a double miter saw, is that you will be using a bevel angle of 33.9 degrees, and that is actually on your saw. And so that's the bevel you're going to be using, and the miter is 31.6 degrees. So there's 31.6 left, or a 31.6 right here, 31.6 right. And those are the angles that you're going to be using on your saw to flat cut molding with a 38-degree spring angle. Okay, I've cut 4 about 1 foot pieces to make my templates. But as I said, is that we're going to now put the bevel to 33.9 to the left. And so I'll do that. Okay, so I moved it to 33.9 to the left, and there's actually a stop right there, so I put the stop in. I come back and level and lock the bevel, so now it's locked at 33.9. So now the only thing that we deal with is our miter angle. And that miter angle, as I said before, is either 31.6 to the left or 31.6 to the right. So now I'm ready for my first cut, and I'll make the cut and then we'll talk about it. Okay, I've made that cut and I've left it just sitting there. So here's what's important, and this is how you mark your piece of wood. Remember, as we said, is the decorative is at the bottom. So all of this right here is your decorative part. And so the top for the outside, this is the outside right. Outside right, the top goes against the fence. So what we're going to do now is mark the top. Okay, so while I was gone, I marked with black the top of the board. That way you know that the top goes against the fence. So now I've written on here, this is the outside right. The top goes against the fence. You keep the right side of the blade. So as we did here, this is our cutoff, this is our trash, and this is the part that would be used on our cabinet. The bevel is set to 33.9, and the miter is set to the right side at 31.6. So now we'll get ready to cut the outside left. Okay, I've just now cut the outside left, and here is the cutoff portion. You still keep to the right. So here we'll look at the board. We just did the outside left, and I've marked the bottom, because the bottom goes against the fence now. And so the outside left has bottom against the fence. You still keep the right side of the blade. Your bevel is still 33 left, but now the miter is 31.6 still. So when you put it up against the wall, you actually flip it over, and so now your outside right and your outside left come together to give you a great miter, and so that's how the outsides go together. Okay, so I'm not showing, I'll just show the insides. Inside left and inside right are just like the outside, except they're inside, of course, but you keep to the left side of the blade in both cuts, and the inside left is the top goes against the fence, and that's what I've marked that. Left blade, again, left side of the blade is cut, and you keep still the same bevel, 33.9, and the miter to the right. The inside right is bottom against fence, so where that is all at, you keep the left side, and your bevel is 33.9, but your miter is set to the left instead of to the right. So with that, I have all 4 templates. Inside left and right, and outside left and right. Okay, so I think you saw everything, and next video we'll get to actually putting up that molding. But just as an aside, while I was making those templates, I actually cut one of them wrong. You don't see that in the video, so I actually had, instead of 4 pieces, I had to use a 5th piece, because it is very confusing getting left, right, up, down done, and that's why you should have templates. So you can say, okay, I'm cutting an outside, and you can pull your template, say, and lay it there, and then you cut your piece. So you'll grab the left side or the right side, and that's what the mistake I made is I cut the left side of it instead of the right side, or vice versa. I've already forgotten. And so anyway, we're continuing on and waiting. So I got a couple of contractors that are coming, including the surveyor. We have to have it surveyed a final time before we get our home loan. So anyway, give me a thumbs up. Have any comments? Looking forward to comments. And if you're interested in getting the next video, hit the bell. So anyway, have a great one. See ya.